My name is Vince McIntyre. I'm 67 years old. I was born in the west of Ireland. I worked in mines and logging and all that, and it's brutal hard work. It drains you. And I can go and work in the field, and it actually makes me feel stronger.
I've been a wild rover.
I felt like a drifter, and I'd go down to the coast sometimes and then find some work to do for somebody. I worked for the hay rancher up there, a cattle rancher, and that's where I first used horses, and it just brought me back to my childhood. My father, he was a horseman, and I helped him when I was like 10 years old and stuff. Learned to drive horses. A lot of people, I find that with their first introduction to horse, they treat it like a machine. Like you say whoa and the brakes are on, And to me it's more like being on a boat in rough water, that there's always movement going on, and you always have to be in touch with the movement. I think it's a lesson right in the horses. It keeps you humble, because with a tractor, people get on a big machine and they have that power. But with a horse, you have to be polite. You have to ask them. You have to get their willingness and attention. And with a tractor, you don't have to do that.
Wild roving,
For somebody to go back like I done is pretty rare. Because I remember thinking when I was a child, when I was herding cows for an old lady in my neighbourhood, and for me it was lonely because I was away from my brothers and sisters. I'd rather be playing and doing other stuff. I remember thinking, when I grow up, I'm never going to do this. And a lot of people felt like that. So when you have that experience and you decide you want to get away from it, there was a few events in my life happened to make me realize, hey, that was a good life. And now that I appreciate that I had them experiences, because they give me endurance for what I do. And if kids don't have that, like I know people that are 40 years old and they're still babies. They're still like, they have this, they treat me like a parent or something, But you should be over that. You should be over that. We have lost that concept of manhood and growing up and all that somehow, At one time it was a young fella go to sea because he couldn't get along with his father, for instance. And that's natural. That's natural to be forced out of the nest. Just like the grizzly bear beats up her cubs, you send them away, give them a good beating, and then you won't follow her around anymore, And our nature is the same, to be ousted out of the nest at a certain. But with all the infrastructure and all the industrial whatever, makes us so that we don't have to grow up, right? We don't have to go it on our own and whatever. Well, I think in today's world it's not necessary, because when we depend on an industrial system for our survival, we might protest all that and think that we're defeated and so on, but it still works, eh? But if we want to get our power back and be able to do things for ourselves and not pay other people to live our lives for us, we have to be devoted. We have to learn stuff and stick with it. And I find that I have to get in the zone, eh? Like, if I take a day off, that's probably the worst thing for me, because then I get to think. I do too much of it already,